Last night, the Royals played extra innings for the 13th time this year, and in the 11th, a bunt and a single set the stage for Eric Hosmer. And the 21-year-old came through, producing the Royals' 9th walk-off win and stopping a 4-game losing streak. Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. In addition to an exciting win, Joakim Soria was impressive for the 3rd straight outing, and he is back as closer as the Royals resume a 4-game series with the Toronto Blue Jays. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre. And yesterday, the Royals started another round of building for the future with the amateur draft in hopes of finding another Eric Hosmer.
And Ryan, they started with Bubba Starling. He's a big player. He runs good, he can throw, and he's local, and he's a guy that could come quick for the Royals.
As Eric Hosmer did, drafted in the 1st round in 2008 in the big leagues 3 years later.
Well beyond his years, he's almost like he's been here 5 or 6 years already. He hits in all different parts of the lineup in different situations, and last night, game winner.
He's never really struggled since being called up, but he's been exceptionally strong during this homestand, the Royals' longest homestand of the year. And in 8 games, hitting .400, an 8-game hitting streak, he has driven in 9 runs. That didn't take very long. In the span of 1 week, Joakim Soria was out and now back in as Royals closer.
Well, Joakim Soria needed a mental break from that closer's role, so he took 3 innings, made those 3 perfect innings, and he came in last night and pitched 2 scoreless innings to get the victory.
And boy, did he make a statement. Not just 3 good outings, 3 dominating outings, spanning 5 innings, didn't give up 1 single hit and not 1 single earned run. After a tough 1st round with the Royals, Vin Mazzero went to the minor leagues. He had 3 quality starts, and he will make the start tonight for the Royals as they take on the Blue Jays. And we'll talk more about him when we come back. It's a national story, but he went back to the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. Frank, we really have to give Vin Mazzaro a lot of credit. After his last outing, he was a national story, but he went back to the minor leagues and earned another big league start.
He went down there, and whatever the instructions that Ned Yost and Bob McClure gave him to work on, he went down there and worked on them, didn't complain, and earned himself another shot here in the major leagues.
He'll face a tough lineup tonight. We'll take a look at how the Blue Jays are lined up. Jose Bautista has now gone 8 consecutive games without a home run. That's the longest stretch for him this year. Changes from last night. Adam Lind will be at first instead of the DH. It'll be Edwin Encarnacion as the designated hitter. The Jays scored just 2 runs last night, an unearned run that shouldn't have been an unearned run.
And this is a play that Michael Vilas, you wish the throw had been a little bit better, but you see the athletic ability of Eric Hosmer at first base and how he was able to get on the foul side of first base and still maintain contact with the base, but the Royals didn't get the call.
And the best that Bautista could do last night was an RBI ground out. Royals defensively tonight, same as last night. So right now, Ned Yost will stick with Mike Aviles at third base and Chris Getz at second. And with this good Toronto Blue Jays lineup, the Royals held them to just 5 singles. Jose Bautista only had a single, and the Jays scored only 2. We'll see what Vin Mazzaro does tonight. The first pitch is coming up next. Definition brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Get no fee HD with digital TV from Time Warner Cable. We go out to right field and welcome in Joel Goldberg.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. It is the return of Vin Mazzaro tonight, and maybe a chance for redemption for a guy that got thrown into a game and in 2 1/3 innings gave up 14 earned runs. Went back to AAA, pitched very well for Omaha. I had a chance to talk to him briefly today because pitchers are usually off limits. Had a nice, easy trip in because Omaha was in Iowa, so didn't have to travel around the country. Well rested, ready to go, and really excited to be back and looking forward to the opportunity to prove himself, guys.
And good for him, going back to Omaha and putting things back together. 3 so-called quality starts, and his best being his last, just 2 earned runs in 7 innings.
Well, he could have really lost his confidence forever after the last outing he had here, but he went down, got on the mound, did what the Royals asked him to do, and now he's back in the major leagues trying to get his career going in the right direction.
And his first pitch is in for a strike to Yunel Escobar. Hitless last night, did score a run. He reached on the error. Charge to Mike Aviles, the missed call at first base. 0-2. Second time Mazzaro has faced the Blue Jays in his career, back in 2009, pitching for the A's. Took the loss. And in that game, lasted just 5 innings, gave up 10 hits, 7 runs. Two and two. Drafted out of high school by the Oakland A's in the 3rd round in 2005. In 2008, he was the Texas League Pitcher of the Year. Coming over to the Royals during the offseason in the David DeJesus trade, along with minor league pitcher Justin Marks.
They're just trying to get that sinking fastball to work for him, and he just misses on the corner, but he's got a good sinker. When it's working, he will get ground balls, but the biggest thing is just getting a hit with it, and that'll make his slide a little better and make his sinker work a lot better when you get a hit than when you're behind.
Past Mazzaro and into center field. Another July-like day in Kansas City, and here we are in early June. 89 degrees right now, mid-90s earlier today. We started at 7:10, and the time and temp is brought to you by the Parking Spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The Parking Spot at KCI. And now Corey Patterson tried to bunt. Probably wasn't a very good pitch to bunt, and it's 0-1.
That's one of the things when you try to make a play like that, you still have to get a strike. You know, you want to bunt the ball, but if you bunt a bad pitch, you pop it up, and you got a chance to bunt it into a double play. I talked to him a little bit before the game about playing left field rather than center field, and he said he really preferred playing left field because your legs stay a lot fresher because you don't have as much ground to cover as you would in center field.
Escobar runs. The throw comes in on a bounce, and it skips past Escobar. The other Escobar goes to third. That throw gets away, and now Escobar will go first to the plate on 2 errors. Not the start the Royals were looking for. Errors on Matt Trainer and Melky Cabrera.
Well, that's one of those situations here when you're receiving the ball, you got a chance to block it. You probably better off to block it and keep it on the infield rather than trying to make the good play. And you can see right here the throw's going to go in, going to bounce, and got by Escobar here. Now it goes to third base. And Mike Aviles right now, he could try to block this ball, but he tried to swipe at it. It got by him, and it rolled down the line toward home plate and up on the screen, and Escobar scores.
He also gets his second stolen base on the play. Now lifted to right center field, and Cabrera takes charge. 1 out. Mazzaro pitched well against the Royals when he was with the A's. He made 4 starts. He was 2-0, and his ERA was 2.29. So that factored in, I'm sure, to the Royals wanting to get him in the DeJesus trade. Anytime, I've always felt, Frank, if there's some question as to why this team wanted that player, sometimes just look how that player did against his new team.
Well, you're a product of your experiences, and I think that a lot of times you might want to look at what they do against other teams that may be in your division, how they pitch against those teams. Not so much what they do against you, but other teams in your division, what they do against those guys.
24 years old, 6'3", 220 pounds. Vin Mazzaro from Hackensack, New Jersey. That is a foul ball, and it's 2-2 on Jose Bautista.
This is the sinker we talked about here. That ball ran in really well, and Bautista hit right over the top of it.
And that's about all he can do with that pitch.
Yeah, he's going to hit it. You know, most times he's going to hit that ball foul the way it's going in down like that.
Trying to get him to chase up and away. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Daryl Cousins, the crew chief, is the first base umpire. Launched to left field, but he was way out in front. And we'll do it again at 3 balls, 2 strikes.
That's the one good thing about pitching a guy like Bautista inside. If you get him hitting the balls in that area, you're in pretty good shape. Now you can get something away from him if you need to.
And a smash past Aviles for a 1-out base hit.
They tried to go back inside again and didn't quite get it there, and they gave up the base hit. But when you get him hitting the ball that far foul, that means he's opening up pretty quick. So that next best option would be maybe to go away with something. That's just how fast those balls get by those infielders, especially at third base.
Blue Jays with 5 hits now in this series. They are all singles. And Bautista will run. He has 5 stolen bases. Talked about it last night. The Blue Jays' biggest change on offense has been adding a running game. They have as many stolen bases right now after Escobar's in the first inning. This is game 61. They have as many stolen bases right now as they did all of last year.
I talked to Rajai Davis early in the day, and he said that getting on that, I don't know if you call it artificial turf anymore that they have up there, but he said that just makes him feel a lot faster than on dirt, and he just feels like it's easier for him to steal bases up there.
Now 0-2 on Adam Lynn. Brian Butterfield is the Blue Jays' third base coach. He survived the change from Cito Gaston to John Farrell. Still 0-2. Adam Lynn making the transition from designated hitter to first base. We hear most of the time the other way around, a position player to a DH, but the Blue Jays had a need at first. Lynn has pretty good hands. He can also play the outfield. He was the DH last night, at first base tonight. Royals pitched him well last night. He was 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. One and two.
You know, Bautista's going to run. This is a good count to run on. This is usually one of those right-handers back leg slider pitches down and into the left-hander. So it's usually a breaking ball count. It'd be a good count to run on.
Not running, and it's stroked to deep right field. Francoeur turns around and watches it land in the party porch. So Adam Lynn with his 10th home run of the year, and the Blue Jays take a 3-0 lead in the first inning.
This right down the middle of the plate. This just didn't do anything. You look for a little bit better 1-2 pitch than that. That looked like a changeup that stayed right in the middle of the plate. And he was just sitting there waiting on it. This ball got out of here in a hurry.
And now lifted to left. The wind is blowing out that way. And the ball carries all the way to the warning track. J.P. Arancibia is the second out. We'll see how Mazzaro bounces back. On one hand, trying to get past what happened here, and then he goes to Omaha and has a 2.84 ERA in 3 starts. So feeling good as he comes back to Kansas City, and now gives up 3 runs in the first inning.
Well, I'm sure that doesn't feel good, and he just got to go back to the confidence thing now and just make sure he keeps his confidence, gets his next out, and just get on through the game. The last pitch was just just a poorly located pitch when you're ahead in the count.
And the home run means that first run now becomes an earned run. And now a 3-pitch strikeout against Aaron Hill. Blue Jays get 3 in the first. So a tough beginning for Vin Mazzaro, and now the Royals line up, and it'll be Alex Gordon, Melky Cabrera, Eric Hosmer, Jeff Francoeur, Billy Butler, Mike Aviles, Chris Getz, Matt Trainer, and Alcides Escobar. And they'll be facing Kyle Drabek, the son of former National League pitcher Doug Drabek, who won 155 games in his career. He was the Cy Young winner in 1990. Drabek was drafted by the Phillies originally in the first round in 2006, and then traded to Toronto in the deal that sent Roy Halladay to Philly.
Well, he had a tough outing his last outing. Only recorded 2 outs in the first inning, but he's been kind of referred to as high strung, and I tell you that gets back to being a young pitcher, controlling emotions. But he has a top of the rotation stuff. You know, he's got a good sinking fastball, curveball, slider, and change.
Ball 1 to Alex Gordon, hitless last night, but he was on base a couple of times with walks and struck out twice. 1-1. And back into center field, and that snaps an 0 for 11 for Alex Gordon. And back come the Royals after Toronto got 3 in the top of the first inning.
This swing of Alex is nice and short. That ball up in the zone. Alex been fouling that pitch off the last couple of ball games, but here he gets right on the same plane with it and hits a line drive back through the middle. Just stayed back and used his hands and didn't try to pull the ball, hit it where it was pitched.
Hitting well over 300 on the homestand, and that's the 17th time that Alex has been on base against the Angels, the Twins, and now the Blue Jays. Melky Cabrera has hit in 5 straight. He was on base 3 times last night. Thought he had won the game with 1 out in the bottom of the 11th inning, and then Mike McCoy, who had just come in the inning before, made a diving play at third. So Eric Hosmer had to come through with 2 outs.
Well, he had a good laugh about it today. I said, man, you really hit that ball hard last night. He said, I couldn't have hit it any harder. Well, what great reaction time at third base by McCoy.
Pitch was down, and it's pulled foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Better average, more power from this side of the plate. Of course, he has a lot more at-bats as a left-hand hitter. A couple of weeks ago, we were telling you that Melky, growing up in the Dominican Republic, he just grew up hitting from both sides of the plate. There was no moment in his career when he decided, okay, I'm going to be a switch hitter. Just growing up, playing in the streets, he and his friends would just imitate other major league players. And if it was a left-handed major league player, well, you batted left-handed. And the same if it was a right-hand hitter.
Yeah, we used to do that too when I was kids, but we used to go by the cool names.
Alex got a good break. I don't know if Aaron Sebia gets him, if he's able to pick it off the ground cleanly. And it's a wild pitch charged to Drabek.
Now, as a runner on first base or any base, you got to be ready. When you see that ball down in the dirt, then you got to go. And what makes that even possible is Aaron Sebia stayed down on one knee, and that made that play easier for Alex to beat it into second base.
Still 2-2. Let's see if the Royals jump on Drabek early in the count as the game goes along. He does have good stuff, strikeout type stuff, but he also has the most walks in the American League. So will they be patient with him, make him throw strikes? Curveball is buried in the dirt. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
One of the few pitchers you see in baseball with a single-digit number. Number 4. That's
And we'll do it again. Well, we were talking last inning about Vin Mazzaro's previous major league outing. That was against the Cleveland Indians, by the way. Well, Kyle Drabek is coming off a rough previous outing, and that was against the Cleveland Indians. And on Wednesday, he did not get out of the first inning. Long at bat for Cabrera, still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Only got 2 outs in the first inning on Wednesday. Gave up 4 runs. He walked 3, gave up 3 hits, 38 pitches. And in his last 3 starts, his earned run average is over 6 with a lot of walks.
You can tell he's got good pitches, Ryan, but you know the walks and the lack of command. You can see the hard breaking ball, but nowhere near the strike zone. There's a ball right out of his hand bouncing in the dirt for the most part.
And Melky fouls it away again, and you can see Drabek kind of turning to his left in frustration, hoping that that would be a strikeout pitch. And the catcher, Aaron Sebia, picked up on that, and he went out to the mound to deliver the next baseball and may have said, hang in there.
Well, this is where young pitchers can learn from veteran pitchers. You watch Jeff Francis go through an inning like this, and he just stays right in there, doesn't get frustrated. You will never be able to tell what is by his mound presence, what's going on through his head. But young pitchers have to learn that mound presence and then be able to stick in there and make those pitches.
A line drive to left field, 11 pitches, and Cabrera is out. Gordon still at second base. And we'll take a look at the Blue Jays defensively tonight with Patterson, Davis, Bautista in the outfield. Jason Nix, a good fielding infielder, will be at third base with Escobar, Hill, and Lind, and Aaron Sebia behind the plate for 23-year-old Kyle Drabek. So this here could be the first of many Drabek-Hosmer matchups over the years. Ball one outside. 23-year-old Drabek, 21-year-old Hosmer. Eric has hit in 8 straight. Drove in 2 runs, including the game winner last night. He has 9 RBIs on the homestand. Here's tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And we were talking about Hosmer's great numbers during this homestand at the top of the broadcast. Well, if you look at best home batting averages altogether, only Matt Joyce of the Rays and Jose Bautista of Toronto have better batting averages at home than Hosmer. 3-0. And a 4-pitch walk. So Drabek's 46th as he leads the league. And now 2 on, 1 out for Jeff Francoeur.
And on him not getting through that first inning, Ryan, he said that's the first time in his whole life that he's never gotten out of the first inning. And that just shows you how difficult it is to pitch up here. When hitters know they got you and they got you on the run, they'll make you make an adjustment to turn things around for yourself. They don't do anything to try to help you out.
So Drabek with a 3-0 lead has given up a single and now a walk, and here's Jeff Francoeur. And lined into right center field. That will drop. Alex comes around third. Hosmer goes to third, and it is 3-1.
That's a really good piece of hitting right here. This ball was in on him. He got inside of it. And just see the hands come right down off the shoulder, tucked in tight, and he forces his ball into right center field. Now, Bautista does a great job getting this ball back into the infield to keep Francoeur from going to second base. And Alex scores easily on that base hit.
So both Alex Gordon and Jeff Francoeur put an end to a personal 0 for 11 in this inning. A strike now on Billy Butler. Francoeur drives in his 36th. He had 54 RBIs last year, all season, with the Mets and the Rangers. Billy trying to go the other way. No balls, 2 strikes. For 3 last night, 2 walks. Batting average still above 300, and on base percentage still above 400. Fouled away. When Drabek was traded to the Blue Jays, he was considered the Phillies' #1 prospect. I mentioned the first-round pick in 06. He had Tommy John surgery in 07, but by 09, he was the Phillies' minor league pitcher of the year. And then after the 09 season, traded to Toronto. He threw a no-hitter in AA last year and was the Eastern League pitcher of the year. So you can imagine the expectations this year, and he grabs it with his bare hand and begins a double play. Royals come back and they get 1 in the bottom of the first. AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By Panera Bread Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. And by Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. Blue Jays get 3 in the first inning, 2 on a home run from Adam Lynn. And the Royals got Vin Mazzero a run back in the bottom of the first. Throws a strike to Edwin Encarnacion. Last night, Encarnacion appeared as a pinch hitter and walked late in the game. And a little miscommunication between Cabrera and Francoeur, and it falls for a double. So Cabrera thought Francoeur had it. Francoeur thought Cabrera had it.
Well, this is when you get on the same plane running for a ball. They both guys take the same route, and normally your corner outfielder would come across, and the center fielder would take the backup route. But you can see right here, Francoeur is looking right at Melky right there, but nobody made the call. And both guys pulled off at the same time. So usually you take that corner guy, you take the short route across.
Royals have to hurry, and they get Rajai Davis. Remember all the trouble he had late in the game last night trying to get down a bunt. So he lays one down here and gets Encarnacion to third base. So pressure again on Mazzero in the second inning with a runner at third and 1 out. Royals will bring the infield in for number 9 hitter Jason Nix. And that stroke to left field. That is a fair ball. It's 4-1 Toronto. And Nix goes into second base with a double. Double number 5, RBI number 12 for Nix. 5 hits for the Blue Jays last night, all singles. They only scored 2 runs. Well, they have 5 hits already tonight. They have 4 runs, and 3 of the 5 hits are for extra bases. Sounds more like the Blue Jays I remember.
Yeah, they swing the bats, and you get the ball up, out over the plate, and you're usually going to get hit hard somewhere.
Everybody's just standing around waiting for Yunel Escobar, who is just now putting his batting gloves on. There are Blue Jays in the third base dugout kind of looking around and smiling and laughing at one another. And you hope for his sake he wasn't caught off guard and didn't realize he was coming up.
No, you hope that wasn't the case for sure. That wouldn't sit too well with the manager.
In his defense, if he was caught off guard, which you never should be, Encarnacion swung at the second pitch. Davis bunted the first pitch. Nix doubled on the first pitch, so his spot came up in a hurry. Nix will hold at second, and Encarnacion is 1 for 2. So the runner at second and 2 outs now, Corey Patterson. He flied out to center field in the first inning. In 1998, the Chicago Cubs took Corey Patterson in the first round and thought they had a center fielder of the future. And he did have one big year with the Cubs. In 2004, he had 24 home runs, 32 stolen bases. So he was hitting for power. He was using his speed, but he struck out 168 times. And that one statistic right there, strikeouts, has probably held him back more than any other.
And you see a lot of leadoff guys who have high strikeouts. Austin Jackson is one guy that comes to mind that, you know, it's offense with it, but you strike out 160 times a year. You know, you could do a lot of good if you just put the ball in play half of those times.
And especially when you're as fast as Patterson is.
Right.
Pick off second base, and they get Nix. The Blue Jays add a run, and once again they lead by 3. Run 9 walk-off wins for the Royals this year. And in our sprint you call it question, who has been the toughest in the clutch? Melky Cabrera has 2 walk-off winners. Eric Hosmer 4 game-winning RBIs already. Jeff Francoeur has 2 walk-off winners. He and Billy Butler have been particularly tough in the later innings, just like the Royals have been. 324 from the 7th inning on for Francoeur. 323 in the 7th inning on for Billy Butler. So text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, followed by a space. A for Cabrera, B for Hosmer, C for Francoeur, and D for Butler.
Great list. Well, the camera picked for me. I'm gonna go with Hosmer right now.
Mike Aviles to Rajai Davis in center field. And forgive me for saying this, he's a big leaguer and he is a good player, but Rajai Davis is going to get hit with the Unievsky-Betancourt bug eventually. You can only catch it like that for so long, right?
Well, that's true, unless you're just real good at it. I talked to him last night. Remember the play where we thought he hesitated, lost the ball a little bit? And I asked him about that play today. He said, no, what happened was when the ball went into the hitting zone, and then just as the hitter went to swing it, he said a big bug came and hit him right in between the eye. He said it stunned him for a minute. We had a good laugh about that one. I said, I thought you didn't see the ball. He said, no, I saw it. I saw it till the guy went to swing, and the bug hit me right between the eye. And just
that'll do it.
Stunned me for a second.
1-2 on Chris Getz. 1 out of 5 with a run scored, the game-winning run in the bottom of the 11th last night. Started that inning with one single. Goes down and gets a low pitch. Strokes it to right center. He'll take a wide turn, and he will challenge Rajai Davis. He is into second base with a hustling double.
Chris Getz knew right away he was going for 2 on this play. This is an excellent ball he hit right here. I mean, this ball is down. He went down and stroked it into the right center field. And you watch Roger Davis when he gets this ball, it's almost like he thinks Getz is going to stop at first. And he kind of takes his time getting ready to throw this ball at second base. And that was just enough time to give Chris Getz to get in there. So you can see how he just sort of went around first. Not quite sure at first. But Davis took a little bit of time thinking he's going to stay at first. And then when he had to speed it up, Chris Getz had too big a head start on him.
Trainer pops it up. Lynn goes into foul ground and makes the play. Getz bluffs a tag, but Lynn gets it back to the infield quickly. So runner at second, 2 away. Getz maybe needing a little extra time to catch his breath on a hot night. Whether you are in shape or not, it's a little more difficult to get the motor running on a night like tonight.
Well, you get those. You get a lot of running in early. About a 6th, 7th inning, those legs get a little heavy on you. So you gotta make sure you get really hydrated and just keep as fresh as you can.
A strike to Alcides Escobar. 0 for 4, but in the 11th inning, laid down a sacrifice bunt, setting up the game-winning hit. Oh and 2. Chris Getz laid down a bunt single. Then Brian Pena tried to put down a sacrifice bunt to get Getz up to second base, but fouled 2 away. But then he singled. Escobar moved him up with a bunt. Alex Gordon walked. Cabrera lined out, and then Hosmer won it with a single. On the ground to Aaron Hill, and the Royals aren't able to make anything of Getz' 1-out double. By Thoroughbred Ford. Find the new Ford you're looking for at thoroughbredford.com. And by Steel. Are you ready for a steal? Royals and the Blue Jays. And after tonight, only 2 more games left on this 11-game homestand, longest for the Royals. Right now the Royals are 3-5. Down 4-1 to the 3rd inning. And it's inside to Corey Patterson. He was standing at the plate with 2 outs in the 2nd inning when Vin Mazzaro picked off Jason Nix at second base, and now he drives it into deep right field. Francoeur goes all the way back to the screen and up against the State Farm sign, makes the catch.
Well, he really got extended on this ball down low, and the only thing held this in was a little wind that's going from right to left in the big ballpark. Thinking I'm going to see Francoeur almost take his eyes off just a little early because he knew he was going to have to hit that wall.
Donnie Miller out in right field didn't quite get the end of that. That's because he left his camera to let Francoeur know where he was on the field. You can hear him from here. You're good. You're good. You got room. That away, Donnie. Team player.
Yeah, a little stiff arm in the back.
Yep. The Royals come before the camera. Jose Bautista with one out singled in the first inning and scored on Adam Lynn's home run. Slider is outside. 3 balls, 1 strike. Still leading the league with 20 home runs. Second in the league in hitting after going 1 for 4 last night. And he will walk with 1 out. Tomorrow and every Wednesday, it's Ink Student Night and Local Music Showcase. You can get a $7 game ticket, pregame happy hour specials, and enjoy one of KC's best bands. Tomorrow, you'll get music from the Grizzly Hand. Before the Royals take on the Blue Jays, that's a 7:10 first pitch. The gates will open at 6 o'clock. So a runner at first for Adam Lynn, who fouls it off to the third base side. When the series began, Adam Lynn was a 190 hitter in his career against the Royals. Then he went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts last night. But tonight, down in the count 1-2 in the first inning, hit a 2-run home run to right center field.
It's back in the first inning. Got a 1-2 changeup all over the plate. And that's a line drive in on the party porch area out there in right field.
His 10th, driving in his 31st and 32nd runs of the year. And the runner at first in the first inning was Jose Bautista, and he's there now with 1 out. And here we go again, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Go to FoxSportsKansasCity.com and read Steve Cameron's column about the area-wide glee and excitement around the Royals drafting of Bubba Starling, and read how most Royals fans didn't think it would happen. That's at FoxSportsKansasCity.com. A couple of years ago, Adam Lynn was the designated hitter of the year. 35 home runs, 114 RBIs. Got underneath this one. Francoeur makes a play. There are 2 outs. Bautista goes back to first. Well, it's one of those days where the pitcher really needs to make sure he gets the ball down. It is warm. The wind is blowing out. It is a strong wind. And I would imagine that a power hitting team like the Jays, somebody like Adam Lynn, they might be trying to elevate the ball and get it up into the wind.
Well, I would think so. It's similar to playing down in Arlington. Every time you elevate a ball to those Rangers, they swung at it up because they just want to get the ball in the air. And I think it'd be the same way with the Jays. So that's why it's crucial to stay ahead and pitch down.
Good pitch down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike on Aaron Sebia, who got one up in the wind in the first inning. Looked like a routine fly ball to left. And when Alex Gordon made the catch, he was standing on the warning track. Two and one. Aaron Sebia hit 32 home runs last year. That was the most in the minor leagues for a catcher. He was the Pacific Coast League's most valuable player. 3 balls, 1 strike. "32 home runs is 32 home runs, and when you win the MVP, you're doing something special." And we should point out, the Pacific Coast League is a good league if you can get the ball in the air.
You can definitely, it's a hitter's league, always has been. And when it used to be the Pacific Coast League and the American Association, you'd always have a difference in home runs. It's almost like playing here and playing in Arizona.
Bautista runs, and it's fouled away. And Bautista will be running again. Three runs in the first inning for Toronto, and they added a run in the second. So they have doubled their output from last night. Royals winning 3-2 in 11 innings, and they did that in the first 2 innings tonight. Bautista running, and a good slider strikes out Aaron Sebia, and that's Mazzero's second strikeout. Who served in World War II and spent over 5 decades volunteering his time assisting youth and adult athletes as a coach and administrator for softball leagues in Topeka, Kansas. Elected to the Kansas Softball Hall of Fame in 1989, Milo is known by many as the Hank Aaron of softball. And the Buck O'Neill legacy seat at tonight's game. 4-1 Toronto, top of the order for the Royals. In the bottom of the first, Alex Gordon led off with a single. He had been 0 for 11. 3 batters later, Jeff Francoeur singled him home. He had been 0 for 11. 1 ball, 1 strike against Kyle Drabek, who came back in the second inning, gave up a double to Chris Getz, but no runs. 1 walk, no strikeouts so far for Drabek. Most impressive thing he has done so far was grab a ground ball from Billy Butler with his bare hand and begin an inning-ending double play.
That's the first time I've ever seen that. That was a nice play.
In on the hands, Lind will feed Drabek, and there is 1 out. And now Melky Cabrera, who had an 11 pitch at bat against Drabek in the first inning and ended up lining out to left. Good fastball over the inside, 0-1. Appeared to lose his footing on that one strike pitch to Melky Cabrera. Two balls, one strike. Escobar to the middle. 2 outs in the bottom of the third. So Drabek looking to retire the side for the first time tonight, and now he'll pitch to Eric Hosmer, who reached on a 4-pitch walk in the first inning. Hosmer has hit in 8 straight and is batting at .304.
You can really tell the life that Drabek has on his pitches. He's a hard-breaking slider, fastball sinks very well, and he pitches both sides of the plate. But the one thing that kind of keeps him on edge here is the fact that he's behind the count a lot. They keep the hitters in hitting counts, and he's always have to come back and make the good pitch to get himself out of trouble.
Drilled to right field. So Hosmer has hit in 9 straight. Runner at first with 2 outs. Some of the walk-off wins for the Royals this year. Still pictures from last night. Hosmer knew it was coming. Here's Billy Butler getting a pie in the face after the walk-off home run on Wednesday against the Angels. And now Hosmer will move up to second base on a wild pitch. That might have been a world record, by the way, for amount of shaving cream and a pie to the face. Frank Coeur to Billy Butler on Wednesday. We asked you earlier in our Sprint You Call It question who has been the toughest in the clutch for the Royals this year. And 53% going with Eric Hosmer. Frank Coeur drove in Alex Gordon in the first inning with a base hit to right center field. And this ball gets away from Aaron CBS, so Hosmer will move up again. Go back-to-back wild pitches.
You know, a lot of times catchers, if they try to block the ball versus try to catch the ball, especially when they're trying to backhand a ball in the dirt, especially a breaking ball, it's awful tough to catch. So once this pitch starts to go down, you can just slide over and just try to block it rather than trying to pick it for the backhand. You do a better job of maybe taking that wild pitch away.
Frank Coeur goes down and gets one that may have not been a strike. He drives in another run. The Royals have had some good swings tonight on pitches down, either down in the zone or maybe down and out of the zone.
Chris Getz hit a pitch that looked like it was going to be on the ground, and look at this ball going down, and Frank Coeur went right down with it, kept his head on it. I tell you what, this is a rocket back through the middle. I mean, that's you don't square a ball up that well, that low very often.
All one to Billy Butler. Well, Frank Coeur had been 0 for 11. He was 0 for 5 last night, but he had a couple of lineouts. So you really can't say he was struggling. He wasn't getting hits, but swinging the bat well, and now rewarded with 2 good swings, 2 singles and 2 RBIs. 1 ball, 1 strike on Billy. In the first inning, Billy hit a ball back to Drabek, who grabbed it with his bare hand, and pitchers are instructed not to do that unless you can turn it into a double play.
Well, nobody complained. Get those 2 outs and let me check your hand out later. Let me take a look at it here. 1 swoop. Now he would have had to feel that ball in his hand, and as he turned, rotated it into his fingers where he could make that throw. Normally, you got a little sensation when you catch a ball like that, but it didn't mess his touch up on his throw at all.
In fact, he's also dealing with the side slope of the mound. I mean, he's not on level ground when he's going from the side of the mound, so the mechanics of the body are somewhat out of whack, but he threw a perfect strike to Aaron Hill at second base. Billy in on the hands, but muscles it out into left field. So with 2 outs and nobody on, the Royals with 3 straight hits. They have a run home, and now 2 on for Mike Aviles.
Billy opened up well on that fastball. It was running in on his hands, and he was able to get the good part of the bat to it. You can see how this fastball was running, and watch him bring his hands in real tight, just right off the shoulder to get that hands out there. Just a nice, short, compact swing, just to get the fat head of the bat to the ball.
And now Mike Aviles with 2 on, 2 out. Way outside, ball 1. Aviles flied out to center field in the second inning. On the ground to Escobar. He goes down to a knee. The Blue Jays get the force. The Royals get another run. They trail by 2. Inning, and here are the Time Warner Cable wideband internet pitch speeds. Drabek at 96, Mazzaro at 95. Blue Jays 4 runs 5 hits against Mazzaro. Royals 2 runs 6 hits against Drabek. So already more runs, more hits in tonight's game through 3 innings than we had in 11 last night. Aaron Hill struck out for the final out of the first inning. Mazzaro got him with a slider down and away. 2 strikeouts for Mazzaro and 1 walk. One and 2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Blue Jays got 3 in the first inning. First run scored on an error, and then a 2-run home run from Adam Lynn. The home run turned an unearned run into an earned run, and then Jason Nix had an RBI double in the second. Escobar cuts in front of Getz and throws out Hill.
Well, let's see what Ben Mazzaro does right here. He threw the hand up there, but I don't know if he really wanted to get this, and Escobar makes a really nice play. Just back through the middle on this play. The shortstop's always going to come first, and the second baseman takes the backup role, and that play worked perfectly.
And now strike on Edwin Encarnacion. He doubled leading off the second inning, and then Jason Nix doubled him home. Escobar again, a little more routine. 2 outs. Night game again tomorrow, and then 3:10 on Sunday, and you can purchase all you can eat seats to the Thursday game, which includes all the hot dogs, nachos, peanuts, pretzels, and Pepsi products you can handle for one low price. Thursday afternoon at 3:10. Royals and the Blue Jays. Final game of the series, final game of the homestand. Getz charges. Davis is out. 8 pitches. Down go the Blue Jays in the 4th inning. Joe Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, wanted to tell everybody that tomorrow night is our annual Royals Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast auction benefiting Royals charities, and we'll be auctioning off some great packages as we did last year. Some really fun, interactive things as well. Some of them we had last year, like the broadcast experience, chance to come watch you guys work and the guys on radio and hang out with Mike Swanson in the press box, and then some of the other packages that'll be included tomorrow night. 6 guests, a chance to have a private batting practice for 45 minutes at Kauffman Stadium with a current Royals player helping throw batting practice. Chance to see behind the scenes and meet and greet Ned Yost and Dayton Moore, and hang out with Willie Wilson and John Mayberry. So that is something that people will be able to do as well, as we see the play at first base there. there's some really interesting ones, and like last year, a chance to hang out in the suite for a bit with George Brett. But how about a bullpen session, pitching lessons with Bruce Chen? So that'll be very good for some teenagers and very fun as well. Hitting lessons once again with Billy Butler. Fielding lessons with Jeff Francoeur. Chance to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. And then a couple of new ones as well that I think will be really intriguing. A spring training trip for two to Surprise, Arizona. And tickets to see U2 play in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. So all kinds of packages and ticket packages to raise good money for Royals charities. We're looking forward to doing that tomorrow night.
Had a lot of fun with that last year. Thanks, Joel. 2 balls, no strikes. Mike McCoy is now at shortstop, so Yunel Escobar is out. McCoy made that great play on Melky Cabrera with 1 out in the 11th inning last night, a diving play when he was at third base. 2-1 on Matt Trainer, going with no batting gloves this time around. Fouled out to first in the 2nd inning. Backing out of play, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Busquets trying to drag his way on to begin this inning.
Well, Aaron Hill makes a nice play here. He gets the ball right in the palm of his hand and makes a nice little shovel over there to Adam Lean at first base.
On the ground to Nix, and there are 2 down in the 4th inning. Matt Trainer is 0 for 2. So Drabek trying to match Vin Mazzaro, who just had his best inning. 3 up, 3 down, all ground balls in the top of the 4th. Both pitchers throwing a lot of pitches in the first 3 innings. Here's Alcides Escobar, grounded out to second base in the 2nd inning, and he looks at a strike. One and one. Escobar fighting to stay above 200 with his batting average. Put an end to an 0 for 20 during the Minnesota series. And now 0 for his last 7. And that'll add points to his average. He has a 2-out single.
I think that's what he's going to do a lot more of, is try to hit the ball to right field and keep his swing short. I think he'll have a little more success. Sometimes get a little bit long, and that's a struggle for him. I know it's difficult, but he just needs to do that a little bit more, and more pitchers try to stay away from him. And he's got to go out there and show them he can do that, and then if he wants the ball back in, they'll come back into him.
Now we'll see if he runs with 2 outs. 6 stolen bases so far this year. All 1 to Alex.
I think it's a good opportunity to try to steal it with 2 outs. If he's thrown out, you still got Alex leading off the inning, and the Royals want to remain aggressive and try to take advantage of a stolen base if they can.
Was that a balk? That didn't look right.
Well, now that they let him do that spin move, it's hard to tell anymore unless that front knee bends a little bit, and that'll make that base runner take an extra step. Now, that looked pretty good right there.
Two balls, no strikes.
Yeah, with that slide step from Drabek, it's going to be tough for Alcides to steal second base. He's really quick to the plate.
Two and one. Leading off the first inning, Alex Gordon singled. Came around to score on Francoeur's base hit. And then Alex grounded out to first in the third inning. Drilled foul, 2-2. Last night the Royals had 2 stolen bases. So they have 58 this year. And that now is the second most in the American League after leading the league for most of this year. Texas Rangers lead the league in stolen bases. And then after that, the Toronto Blue Jays. We were telling you earlier in the game how they've turned their offense around, going from the bottom of the league in stolen bases last year to third in the league.
I don't think the Rangers would ever see themselves leading the league in stolen bases. I mean, they're a well-rounded team right now.
Got a pretty good jump, and it's in the dirt, so no slide required. 7 stolen bases for Escobar.
We got a real good jump here, and Drabek didn't use a slide step, so that would have been an advantage to Alcides on this steal, but ball in the dirt. Good jump, great pitch selection and runoff.
And now 3 balls, 2 strikes on Alex. And now he walks. Drabek second. Royals scored a run last inning with 2 outs and nobody on base, putting 3 straight hits together. And now with 2 outs and nobody on in the 4th, a single and a walk. Not just Kyle Drabek, but this happens so often with young pitchers that maybe earlier in their careers in the minor leagues or in college or in high school, Escobar is cut down. The offense is so deflated by the first 2 outs. They have difficulty getting to third, but Drabek gets it here in the 4th. Coming back to the big leagues after that memorable outing against the Cleveland Indians, he gives up 3 in the first inning, gives up 1 in the second, but now 2 scoreless innings.
Looks like he settled down a little bit now. I think getting through that first inning, it kind of shades of what he went through before he left, but I think getting through that inning and getting going in this ball game, he's starting to settle down right now.
Coming off his best inning, got the Blue Jays in order in the 4th, and looking closer at those 3 outs, 3 ground ball outs. So that's his game when he is on. Ball down in the strike zone. Outs on the ground. Jason Nix, Mike McCoy, and Corey Patterson in the 5th inning. Aviles into a feet-first slide, long throw, and it ricochets off the netting in front of the dugout suite. It will be a base hit for Nix, his 2nd of the game. Matt Trainer waiting for Nix to come to the bag. He is safe, so he did not make a move to second base.
Well, Mike makes a good play, hitting this ball on the in-between hop there, and he gets to his feet. He gets squared up, well, okay, but the throw is just high to first base, and Nix runs well and he beat this throw for a base hit.
And now Mike McCoy bats for the first time. Royals thinking the Blue Jays had a play on. McCoy took over at shortstop in the bottom of the 4th for Yunel Escobar. And I don't think we've heard yet why Escobar came out of the game.
Yeah, McCoy looks like a batter that they would hit and run with and played a small game and get runners in scoring position with.
Escobar had single to open the game, and then on a strange play, he stole second. The throw went into center field. He went to third. That throw went in front of the dugout, and he scored all in one play. And now McCoy drives it over Alex Gordon. And coming around third is Jason Nix. He will beat the relay from Escobar. So McCoy's double gives Toronto a 5-2 lead.
Yeah, McCoy hits this ball a lot better than Alex thought he did. He went across and thought he could cut this off, but the ball beat him and got over his head in the left center field for the double. But it looked like when it was first hit, it looked like a ball that he thought he could cut off, but this ball's hit pretty good. And you can see Jason Nix slide in just ahead of the throw with Matt Trainer at the plate.
So 7 hits, 4 extra base hits for the Blue Jays. And now Patterson at least trying to butt McCoy over to third base and fouls it back to the netting. 2 flyouts for Patterson, including a nice play by Jeff Francoeur going up against the screen in front of the scoreboard in right field. This time he gets the bunt down. Mazzaro goes to third. Matt Trainer, I thought I heard somebody call 3, and that's normally the call of the catcher. And as soon as McCoy was safe at third base, Matt Trainer slammed his mask up against his right shin guard. So he might be going out to apologize to Mazzaro.
Yeah, when that ball's bunted on the first base side of the mound, your chances of getting that runner at third are going to be kind of slim. But there was no doubt where he was going with this ball. So obviously he heard something. But you always got to take that out. You got to always make sure you get it out in a bunt situation. Probably a different type play if it's a force out play, but when you got to make a tag play, everything, you got to have some clear daylight there.
So 5 runs home for Toronto. First and third with nobody out, and Nate Adcock begins to warm up in the Royals bullpen. That'll go down as a sacrifice for Patterson and a fielder's choice. So he's given up 5 runs, 7 hits, but he's had a couple of quick innings, so his pitch count isn't bad. But down by 3, still early in the game. And 2 on with nobody out. And now he has to pitch to Jose Bautista, who leads the league in home runs. On base twice tonight. singled and scored in the first. He's also walked. And he's down, no balls, 1 strike. Mike McCoy with a double in the inning that drove in a run. He's at third, and Corey Patterson at first. 0-2. Coming up Tuesday, June the 21st, it is a throwback to the 80s. Royals and the Diamondbacks at 7:10. Retro Night means $7 Hy-Vee infield ticket prices, $2 hot dogs, peanuts, and small Pepsis. And the first 10,000 fans receive a Retro Royals t-shirt presented by Pepsi. All of that Tuesday, June the 21st against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have fallen back to earth somewhat, no longer in first place in the West, but just a game back of San Francisco.
Well, Patterson at first base is not known as a base stealer. Yeah, he does have 8 stolen bases, but he's been caught 5 times. And they probably don't want to do much with Bautista hitting right here.
But he pops it up. Broke his bat not on the swing, but when he slammed it to the ground. So there was an RBI out there for him, and he pops out to Getz. 1 out in the 5th.
So he broke a perfectly good bat.
Yep. Wasn't the bat's fault, was it?
Nope. I mean, he had a good pitch to hit, popped it up, and there goes a perfectly good bat.
So everybody in the Blue Jays dugout is disappointed with that effort, with the exception of the trash can. 1 ball and no strikes on Adam Lind, who had a 2-run home run in the first. He is 1 for 2. Outside, 2-0.
Mazzaro's really playing himself in a corner here. They're pitching from behind you. A guy like Adam Lane who's going to look for 1 pitch to try to do some damage with. You got to get ahead of him, but you keep putting yourself in a situation where you got to make a good pitch, and then you usually end up losing that battle.
That is popped up. It should be deep enough to get McCoy down from third. It is. So Lind has driven in 3, and now Toronto leads 6-2. So 6 runs on 7 hits allowed by Mazzaro, and there are only 2 outs in the 5th inning. JP Arancibia is 0 for 2. He flied to the warning track in the first inning.
I think Patterson would probably look somewhere in this at bat to try to steal second base.
Oh, 2. Three runs in the first, 1 in the second, and Mazzaro strung together a couple of scoreless innings. He had retired 7 out of 8 going into this inning, but Nix got the inning started with an infield single, then McCoy's RBI double, a sac bunt, and now a sacrifice fly. Inning is over. 3 strikeouts for Mazzaro, but he is down by 4 runs. runs, but now they have 6 in their first 5 at-bats. Jose Bautista last year led the league with 54 home runs. He is second in the league in hitting at the moment, 346. So in our AT&T trivia question, we ask you, who was the last player to win the American League batting crown a year after leading in home runs? There have been 11 in Major League history. The most recent was Barry Bonds. He led the league in home runs in 01, batting title in 02, but that was in the National League. So who is the last American leaguer? 2-0 on Melky Cabrera. He was batting with 2 on, 2 out in the 4th inning. But Alcides Escobar was picked off at second base to end the inning. Two and one. Slice to left field. Cabrera lined to left his first time up. This time he gets it in front of Patterson, and he has a leadoff single. Melky is 1 for 3.
That's a nice piece of hitting, similar to the swing he took last night with the bases loaded when McCoy made that great play on his line drive. This ball's going down and away. He stayed down with it, got a full swing on it, and line drive into left field.
Ball one on Eric Hosmer. On base 2 more times tonight. Walked on just 4 pitches in the first inning. Singled and scored in the 3rd. In 33 at-bats during this homestand, he has 15 hits. Now he has 16 out of 34. He was hitting .310 before that base hit. 2 for 2 tonight.
Say one thing, man. Those last 2 balls have been hit very hard. And I mean, when Hosmer hits the ball, I mean, this ball jumps off his bat. It gets to the infield in a hurry. You know, Aaron Hill just didn't have a chance at all. I mean, he gets through this ball and top hand down through, roll over after contact. Outstanding. I mean, this ball is by Aaron Hill before he can react to it. It's rare to find a guy that, you know, he has a very aggressive swing. And some people say he swings too hard, but that's control. And I tell you, and he's still able to recognize an off-speed pitch, keep his hands back, and still react to the off-speed pitch.
Good swing by Frank Coor, who has 2 hits and 2 RBIs. He had been 0 for 11.
This is a base hit to right field. This one got in on him a little bit. He's able to put it out there in right center field and played Alex Gordon, but that was a quality at bat right there. Just a sinker down almost on the plate. He just picked it up and drove it back to the middle to score Hosmer.
1 ball, 1 strike. Frank Coor back with the team lead in RBIs with 37. So 17 RBIs away from his total last year. And only 4 home runs away from his total of last year. Way outside. Aaron Sebia had a chance to throw if he wanted to. He got a very favorable bounce. So 2 runners move up on the 3rd wild pitch by Kyle Drabek tonight.
I mean, he just whipped on this ball. I mean, this ball almost hit him in the wrist, but he just fortunate that the ball hit no part of his glove.
So 2 runners in scoring position for Frank Coor. Up the middle. McCoy has a long throw. He gets Frank Coor, who drives in his 3rd. It is 6-3. And moving up to third base is Eric Hosmer.
And that's really all you want to see right there. The infield is in the middle of back. You just want to get that ground ball just to get that run across.
And now an RBI out there for Billy Butler. Aaron Sevilla this time down to his knees to block it. 1-0. Billy grounded back to Drabek, which turned into a barehanded grab and a double play. And then singled in the third, trying to get Hosmer home from third base. And he will. Aaron Hill runs to the hole. There are two down. And it's a two-run game. Second run scored for Hosmer tonight. And Billy Butler has his 23rd RBI.
Ryan, that's what we talked about, just driving in runs without the benefit of a base hit. This is all you're doing is taking what the game is giving you. They give you that RBI, infielders are back, ground ball to short, ground ball to second, 2 RBI.
Mike Aviles is 0 for 2. Blue Jays have scored in 3 innings tonight. And twice the Royals have come right back to score. Jam. And Patterson makes the catch in left field. A 2-run fifth for the Royals. And it is a 2-run game. In the top of the 5th for a 4-run lead, but the Royals came back with 2. All right, who is the last player to win the American League batting crown a year after leading in home runs? Frank?
Don't know that one.
Yaz. Carl Yastrzemski, 301 and 68 after hitting 44 home runs and 67. Another Red Sox player, Ted Williams, did it twice in his career. And we bring that up because Jose Bautista, with 54 home runs, last year led the league and now second in the league in hitting. So he's making a run at that. 67 in the year that Yastrzemski hit all of those home runs, I believe, was the last American League Triple Crown. The truck has confirmed. Over Escobar, Aaron Hill on a 1-2 pitch. is 1 out of 3. So back come the Blue Jays. And out comes Ned Yost. So he gave Mazzaro a chance to start the 6th inning, but with the runner on and nobody out, he will make a pitching change. Earlier, it was Nate Adcock warming up, but it will be Lewis Coleman now in the Chevy call to the bullpen. Responsible for the runner at first, and it will be Lewis Coleman to get Edwin Encarnacion. The Royals just scored 2 in the bottom of the 5th to make it a 2-run game. 20th appearance for Coleman, a 188 opponent's batting average, and 20 strikeouts and 18 in the 3rd innings. Fouled away by Encarnacion. Doubled and scored in the 2nd inning, and then grounded out to short in the 4th. The DH at the moment, because of problems defensively, he has committed 11 errors. Oh, and 2. The next closest Blue Jays player in errors would be Yunel Escobar. He has 6. Encarnacion, however, is a 3rd baseman.
11 is a lot.
That is a statistic that has dogged him all throughout his professional career. Minor league system with the Rangers, big league level with the Reds. Francoeur makes the play in right field, so 1 out. Aaron Hill backpedals to the bag. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefebvre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson. The producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. Coleman facing Rajai Davis, who has a sac bunt and a ground out to second base. Royals have a pretty good idea of how to pitch Davis. Last year with the A's, he hit just .233 against the Royals, and now he is 0 for 6 in this series. Last couple years with the A's, he was a much better second half hitter.
Yeah, the breaking ball's kind of throwing him off. He gets him reaching and keep it to the outer half, and he kind of likes the ball to be middle in, a little up.
Aaron Hill is 8 out of 8 in his stolen base attempts. Coleman trying to keep him close to the bag. He does not have a threatening lead at first. Not running. And there's the slider, and Davis is down 1-2.
Well, you can see the body position at the end of that swing. I mean, he was actually facing shortstop almost. So that lower arm slot that Lewis Coleman has is holding him back, and then he's throwing that breaking ball out of that arm slot, and he just doesn't have enough left to go across the plate and get it.
That one caught some of the plate. Aviles to second base, high throw, and with Davis's speed, probably not going to get a double play, but they get the lead runner, and there are 2 outs.
Yeah, play it right here. You want to throw the beat about chest high. You don't want to have to reach for it and try to stay on the base at the same time when you know it's going to be a close play at second base. So you want to have a throw that you can make the catch and get out of the way of the base runner.
And now you've got 18 stolen bases at first with 2 outs. And the number 9 hitter, Jason Nix, who was batting 183 when the game began, but doesn't look like a 183 hitter tonight, with an RBI double, a single, and a run scored.
Yeah, Jason likes the ball in, middle in too, and he doesn't like to reach for the ball. And you lead the ball, you give him something he can pull, and that's when he's most dangerous.
So you got Nix playing at third, a good glove man with the recent defensive problems with Edwin Encarnacion, who is a better bat man.
I like that.
0-1. Not Batman, but Batman.
I understand. Just sounded good.
Davis has such a small lead. You couldn't blame Coleman if he wasn't thinking something was going on. He's not buying it, so he came set, and he just stood there.
Well, you're right. He doesn't have much of a lead to steal, for sure.
0-2 on Nix.
His first 2 pitches here to Jason Nix. Now that's a pitch that he normally would want to go for right there, and he took that one. And then this one's down in the dirt. So this is the versatility of Coleman.
Davis runs. Trainer throws him out. Blue Jays are scoreless in the 6th.
Our contestant tonight is Kevin Joby from Kansas City, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run, Kevin will win $1,500. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Kevin will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Well, the Royals are due for a big home run game, maybe not from this part of the lineup. Getz, Trainer, and Escobar have combined to hit 2. However, the Royals have just 1 home run in their last 7 games. Drabek has only given up 6 home runs all year. And just 1 home run in his last 25 innings. 1 ball, 1 strike on Getz. He doubled with 1 out in the 2nd inning, really stretched a single into a double. Tried to bunt his way on in the 4th and grounded out. 2-1.
Well, Drabek really keeps the ball down well for the most part with his sinking fastball and hard breaking ball down. He doesn't elevate a lot, but he's also effectively wild too. So as a hitter, it's kind of hard to sit on anything.
Really can't hone in on one part of the zone.
Right, not at all.
No strikeouts. He has strikeout type stuff. He hasn't been a big strikeout pitcher this year. And he has only walked 2. And you say only 2 with him because he leads the league in that category. On the ground, backing up at first is Lynn. He'll get it to Drabek, 1 away. Well, you figure a guy like Kyle Drabek, even though he's adjusting to the major leagues, this isn't entirely new to him. He was old enough to remember his dad's career. So he grew up around the game, around the big league clubhouses. So he got some exposure to the major league life. Got some exposure to the bigger stadiums, the big crowds. Ball 1 to Matt Trainer. Trainer 0 for 2. One ball, 1 strike. Made a nice throw down to second base for the final out of the top of the 6th inning.
Well, it doesn't get any better than this. You got a fast runner and a good release and just a straight throw. Ball went straight as an arrow. Chris Getz makes this tag easily on Rajai Davis.
1-2. Foul ball got a piece of Aaron Sebia, so Jim Wolf, the home plate umpire, will dust off the plate, give Aaron Sebia a little extra time. Dust off those 4 grains of dirt. If the umpire gets hit, the catcher goes out to the mound for no reason other than to give the umpire a little time. If the catcher gets hit, the umpire will dust off the plate. That is Jim Wolf, who is the older brother of Major League pitcher Randy Wolf. And if Randy Wolf were pitching tonight, it is a league rule that he is not allowed to work the plate. Three balls, 2 strikes.
I would think Drabek after this game, Ryan, being a rookie, and Aracebia, the way he's been blocking those balls and taking them all over his body, would say, hey, let's owe you a dinner.
That's Drabek's 3rd walk, and a runner at first with 1 out. Stay connected to the Royals on Twitter by following @Royals. For breaking news, instant game discussion, and special discounts, there's no better place. Follow @Royals today. That is 100 pitches for Kyle Drabek, who wants to stay in the game, but John Farrell, when he went out to the mound, he had already pointed to the bullpen. So the change has been made, and it will be Luis Perez in the Chevy call to the bullpen. Kyle Drabeck leaves with the lead, but doesn't get through 6 innings. 5 1/3 tonight. That is his average on the year. So he has a chance to win, but you wouldn't know by the look on his face. So from one rookie to another, and lefty Luis Perez out of the Jays system from the Dominican Republic and signed in 2003. He inherits Matt Trainer at first base, who just walked. And he has Alcides Escobar coming to the plate. Escobar singled in the 4th, stole a base. He is 1 out of 2. Base hit left field. A 2-hit game for Escobar. So 2 on, 1 out for the top of the order. This July, baseball's biggest stars will gather together in the Arizona desert for one spectacular night in the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 Major League All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 7 p.m. only on Fox. Here are the leading vote getters at every position in the American League, including designated hitter. A couple of surprises, and this might have more to do with the team than the player, but Russell Martin as the catcher and Curtis Granderson in center field. Granderson's had a good year, but all of a sudden is the leading vote getter, one of the leading vote getters in the outfield.
Usually you'd see Suzuki up there as one of the top vote getters. It never hurts to play in New York and be having a good year at All-Star time. You're going to get a lot of votes.
One ball, 2 strikes on Alex. It has been a while since Alcides Escobar has had 2 hits in a game. We have to go back to May the 20th in a game against the Cardinals. Excuse me, May the 22nd. Jaime Garcia was the that game. 1 hit tonight against Drabeck and 1 against reliever Luis Perez. Alex knew he was out before he heard anything from Jim Wolf. 2 down.
No, Escobar's average has really gone down in the last few weeks. But you really can't tell it in how he goes about his at-bats. Normally when a guy's pressing a little bit, he takes a lot of pitches, takes a lot of called third strikes, but he's remained aggressive throughout all these at-bats.
And it hasn't affected his defense at all.
No.
And that does happen with young players. They will take their offense out to the field.
I think what happens with him is that Ned Yost has made it pretty clear that he's not really concerned at this time about his batting average, and sometimes that takes the pressure off of a player, that he knows he's not going to lose playing time if he doesn't hit. So then he focuses even more on his defense.
Melky, line to right, 1 hop to Batista, who got caught flat-footed, so didn't get much on the throw. A run scores, Escobar goes to third, and it is 6-5.
Cabrera does a great job going the opposite way, right-handed and left-handed. This is a line drive, 1 hopper, falls right in front of Bautista, holds him back in right field. And you can see right there that Trainer scores, and Escobar is able to go all the way to third base on this play. He had to take those steps back, so he's not going to get a great throw off. And Escobar is able to go into third base on that line drive.
And now Eric Hosmer, who has 13 RBIs in his last 12 games. And he takes a strike from Luis Perez. 2 hits tonight, 2 runs scored. He has advanced 3 bases tonight on wild pitches. Also on tonight with a walk. No balls, 2 strikes. I was saying ooh, and the crowd gathered here tonight was saying ooh. They saw Perez leave an off-speed pitch up, and Hosmer take a pretty good pass at it.
But he doesn't give in on the lefties. He stays in there pretty good. The sweeping breaking ball from lefties always give left-handers a little problem, but if it stays inside and up, they usually have an opportunity to put the ball in play.
Ball, 2 strikes. The Royals hoping for a clutch hit with 2 outs. And in our sprint you call it question, who has been the toughest in the clutch? And 57% went with Eric Hosmer. Thank you for voting tonight. Still 1-2. Nine-game hitting streak for Hosmer, and now he's hitting .315. Got it. Took something off. Nope, 95 miles an hour. He was out in front a little bit. And strikes out. The Royals add 1. The official soft drink of the Royals in the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth. You'll never sacrifice taste for 0 calories again. Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. One strike on Jason Nix. Lewis Coleman got all 3 outs in the 6th inning in relief of Vin Mazzaro, who went 5 innings and gave up 6 runs, 8 hits. It'll be Nix, McCoy, and Patterson. Nix was down 1 ball, 2 strikes in the 6th inning when Davis tried to steal second. Trainer threw him out, so he leads off the next inning with a fresh count. A double with an RBI in the second inning and a single and a run scored in the fifth. 1-2.
Yeah, great location on that pitch.
He went too far. Coleman strikes out his first, one down in the seventh inning. Remember, you can take your group out to Kauffman Stadium, and if you do so, you will save big. Groups of 20 or more get a significant discount compared to single game ticket prices. For tickets, call 816-504-4040 or visit Royals.com. Mike McCoy takes strike one, batting for the first time in the fifth inning. He doubled, drove in a run, came around to score. Entered the game as a defensive replacement in the bottom of the fourth for Yunel Escobar, who came out because of a bruised quad, bruised thigh muscle.
You know, Mike McCoy trying to make the most of his chances here at this level. I mean, he's been optioned 4 times since opening day, so he's probably looking to get what they used to call some stay here. I want to play well enough to stay here for a while, but he's done well in this series so far. But Lewis Coleman, it looks more like a pitcher tonight. He would usually come in there and throw that hard sinking fastball, but he's really developing his slider a lot better, and he's really using it well tonight.
And then going up and in with the fastball, back-to-back strikeouts.
I mean, you just go to the corner with slider, then he runs his fastball back up and in. And that's got to look twice as fast after those breaking balls.
And with 2 outs and nobody on, a left-hand batter coming up and a left-hand pitcher coming in. He gets 3 outs in relief in the 6th inning and then strikes out 2 in the 7th and hands the ball off to Tim Collins, who is pitching with a little extra motivation tonight as he goes up against the Blue Jays, the organization that first signed him. And he was with Toronto until last year when he was traded to the Braves. Wasn't there very long, in fact just a couple of weeks, and then was traded to the Royals. Strike one to Corey Patterson. 0 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt and 0 for his last 9. Oh and 2.
Well, he's thrown 2 that Patterson's really been late on, so why change now? And they off the plate. That one more in the middle of the plate. If you get it relocated in the same place, he probably would have had a 3-pitch inning. I mean, 3-pitch batter.
Curveball. 3 strikeouts for the Royals bullpen in the 7th. Jeff Francoeur will lead off the bottom half. He has driven in 3. 2 RBI singles and an RBI groundout. This is City Garden with the combination of world-class public art and beautiful landscaping in a downtown setting. The St. Louis City Garden is unique among cultural attractions throughout the country. Here you'll find fountains, beautiful lighting, a cafe with outdoor seating, and world-class sculptures by internationally renowned artists. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. So a combination of Lewis Coleman and Tim Collins. They strike out the side in a scoreless top of the 7th. Lefty Luis Perez came on in relief of Drabek in the 6th. He will stay on for the bottom of the 7th. And a strike to Jeff Francoeur. Drove in a run in the 1st with a single, putting an end to an 0 for 11. Another RBI single in the 3rd, and then drove in a run with a ground out in the 5th. 38 driven in for Francoeur. 1-1. In on the hands and right to Bautista. 1 out in the 7th inning. Fox Sports Kansas City is your home for Big 12 football. Last week, the Big 12 announced its early TV selections for 2011. And our Fox Sports schedule will include Mizzou's season opener against Miami of Ohio, KU at Georgia Tech, K-State, Iowa State, and the Mizzou-Kansas matchup from Arrowhead. So Big 12 football returns this fall here on Fox Sports Kansas City. Billy Butler, 1 out of 3. He has driven in a run. On the ground to 3rd. Tough hop, but Nix stays with it and throws him out. Now Perez gets Mike Aviles. He is 0 for 3. Strike one. Royals are down by one, but maybe this is the beginning of a breakout on offense with just 2 runs or less in 5 of their previous 6 games. 11 total runs in their last 6. So that is an average of fewer than 2 runs per game. But tonight, 5 runs, 11 hits.
Well, it seems when the bottom of the order kind of gets involved, the offense flows a lot freer. And you know, Getz and Trainer and Escobar, you know, they been on base in the bottom of the order, and that's really helped that offense tonight.
3rd strikeout for Perez. Point, we're down 6-2. Here are tonight's Chevy plays of the game.
Well, Lewis Coleman last inning, Ryan, he got Jason Nix on a strikeout with a slider, and he comes right back and blows a fastball by McCoy. And then in comes Tim Collins from the bullpen, and he strikes out Corey Patterson with a great curveball.
And then Collins throws it into the crown seats. Ball 1 to Jose Bautista. Singled and scored in the 1st inning. Walked in the 3rd, popped out in the 5th. So 2 singles and 2 walks for Bautista. That's it so far in the series. He has gone 8 games without a home run, which is the longest stretch for him this year. Look out. Leads the league in runs scored. 2nd in average. Highest on base percentage. Also leads the league with walks. He has 54. Collins moves him off the plate. It is 3-1.
But the Royals have done a good job. Whenever he's been able to get extended on a ball, it's always long and foul. And you know, you look at his RBI totals versus his home runs. You know, 20 home runs, 41 RBI. You think that with 20 home runs, he'd probably be somewhere in that 60s range, and you know, some 2-run homers, some 3-run homers, but you know, 13 of those 20 have been solo shots. So the guys in front of him just haven't been getting on base enough.
Yeah, because you can't say he's just hitting home runs. I mean, this guy's hitting 340.
Yes, sir.
Adam Lynn, speaking of home runs, hit a 2-run home run in the 1st inning, and then had a sacrifice fly in the 5th. So he has driven in 3. Just like Jeff Francoeur, who has driven in 3 tonight. All 6 runs off of Vin Mazzaro. Lewis Coleman, an inning and 2/3, and now Tim Collins got the final out of the 7th and has given up a leadoff walk in the 8th. 1-1. Blake Wood just starting to play catch out in the left field bullpen. A little low. And no swing. Ron Kolpa, the umpire at third base tonight. It's not often you look and you see the scout that signed a player and it was the team's general manager. But you look at Tim Collins, signed in 2007 by J.P. Ricciardi. Collins from Worcester, Mass, and his father, Ricciardi's father, in the same area, was watching him pitch, told his son, you need to come out and watch this Tim Collins. Well, the Blue Jays wanted to see a pitcher by the name of Keith Landers, who happened to be a foot taller than Tim Collins. He was 6'7". Collins 5'7". Landers didn't end up pitching. Collins did. And son took dad's advice and signed Tim Collins out of high school in 2007. 4 years later, he's in the big leagues after going undrafted. Out of play, 3-2. That fan, I guess, wanted nothing to do. That's the equivalent of throwing a visiting team's home run ball back onto the field. Well, he ended up with it, but it's his fault that ball ended up in the Blue Jays dugout.
He didn't misjudge it. He just threw it back on the field trying to catch it.
Playing handball. And then the fans were booing because that other guy ended up with the ball. Royals get the out at second base as Bautista barrels into Escobar. So Lind is at first with one out. That other guy, you can't blame him. He came down the aisle. If you don't want it, I'll take it.
I think they heard how hard that guy got hit.
I mean, look at this. Right? Yeah, that guy's like, hey, you don't want it, I'll take it.
He gets booed. He gets booed right away.
And this guy just gets worn out.
He doesn't even turn around and say, way to go, guy, thank you. He just takes it like it's my ball.
You ever seen that before?
Never. Not with an adult involved. Huh?
Yeah, you did nothing wrong, buddy. Nothing wrong.
He's probably taking heat.
2-0 on 8. JP Arancibia. He is 0 for 3 tonight. He has struck out twice. He did fly out to the warning track in the first inning. Just 1 out of 8 in the series. Arancibia and Eric Hosmer have something in common besides being rookies. They both had that laser eye surgery while they were in the minor leagues and had big seasons a year after that. Last year for both of them. It's interesting. Hosmer was saying that he was having difficulty. Remember that year, his first full year in the minor leagues, he didn't do very well. And he was having difficulty seeing the ball at night because in high school you play at day all the time.
Right.
So he never really realized he had a problem with that. Everything just seemed to be brighter. A person with regular eyesight can look up at the bank of lights and you could count the individual lights, but for Hosmer it was just a blur and the bank of lights seemed bigger than they were. Aaron Sebia had the same problem. He was having difficulty hitting at night. They both had the surgery after the 09 season and both went crazy last year in the minor leagues. Crazy for Aaron Sebia was 32 home runs. That was the most home runs of any minor league catcher. Crazy for Hosmer was 20 home runs at A-ball and Double-A combined and 86 RBIs, as well as winning a batting title at Class A Wilmington. Left field, and that is deep. Alex back to the chain link, and it goes into the Royals bullpen. Aaron Sebia hits his 10th home run of the year. Boy, you are friends one moment and you are foes the next. And Tim Collins and JP Arencibia, both former minor leaguers in the Blue Jays organization, they spent a lot of time during batting practice yesterday talking to one another. And Arencibia, it's a 2-run home run to give the Blue Jays a 3-run lead.
But this is right down the pike, as they say here, and he just gets extended on it and hits it into the left field bullpen. You listen to the sound here, and he knew right away Blake Wood didn't want to catch it,
because then he'd have to throw it back onto the field. Who wants it? Anybody want it? 1-2 on Aaron Hill. Gets out into right field, called off by Francoeur. 2 outs.
Aaron Sevia's got big time power. That ball went a long way. You can always tell by the body language of the hitter when he hits it whether he thinks he got it good or not.
Encarnacion doubled and scored in the 2nd inning. Ball 1 down and in. Two and 0. Royals have still out-hit the Blue Jays 11-9. Blue Jays, though, 5 of their 9 hits have been for extra bases, and they have a couple of 2-run home runs. Royals pitched the Blue Jays very well last night. They had 5 hits, all were singles. And now a 4-pitch walk to Encarnacion. And now Ned Yost is out of the dugout again. So Collins walks 2 in the inning, gives up 2, leaves a runner at first base for Blake Wood. Pitching against the Blue Jays for the first time since being traded away from them as a minor leaguer. Got through the 7th inning with a big strikeout of Corey Patterson, but a 2-run home run in the 8th, so he's out with 2 outs. And it will be Blake Wood with a runner at first base, and he will pitch to Rajai Davis. Let's go around the American League, brought to you by Panera Bread. Boston and New York. 6-4 Red Sox, so they're in a first-place tie with the Yankees. 5-1 in the season series. Boston over the Yankees. Cleveland, they snap a 5-game losing streak. Carlos Carrasco in a combined shutout. Baltimore shutting out Oakland. 8 losses in a row for the A's. Detroit is in front of Texas. Tigers just a game and a half back in the Central. At the moment, the Toronto Blue Jays are just 4 games back in the East. They are right at 500 at the moment. 30 wins, 30 losses, and they've been around 500 all year. When the Royals beat the Blue Jays last night, that was the 13th time this season they have been at the 500 mark. Inside, 3 balls, no strikes. They have been 3 games above 500. That's the high water mark. They have been 5 games below 500. So that tough division with the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Rays, and you figure you got to be better than 500 if you're going to be in it. But so far this year, 500, you are right in it. 3-2 on Davis.
I think last year they had 85 wins last year, and that was just good enough for 4th in that division. So that would have been a lot of wins in the other divisions.
Yeah, 85 and 77. So the Jays were 8 games above, but that was 10 games out. Back to Blake Wood. And over to Hosmer to end the inning. The Blue Jays get another home run, and they lead by 3.
Lead the Royals 8-5 at Kauffman Stadium when this game is over. Jeff Montgomery and I will have Boulevard Royals Live out at Rivals as we will take a look at Vin Mazzaro's return to the Royals. Plus hear from Ned Yost and Royals players and their reaction after the game, and a review of Day 2 of the draft for Kansas City. That and your questions, you can text them in at 432-432 space keyword live. Give us your name, where you're from. We'll try to answer some of those as well. Coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Ryan?
All right, thank you, Joel. Royals with 6 outs to go on offense. Chris Getz, Matt Trainer, Alcides Escobar in the bottom of the 8th inning against Luis Perez, who has been in there since the 6th. Getz stretched a single into a double with good hustle in the 2nd inning. 1 for 3 tonight. Blue Jays are ready for the bunt. They have both corners in. Lind at first and Nix at third.
Well, they're going to make him hit the ball. They don't want him to get a cheap bunt base hit here. You're going to get a base hit here. You're going to swing and you're going to hit the ball.
1-1. Royals have been down 3-0. They have been down 4-1. They have been down 6-2 and now down 8-5. After falling behind 6-2, the Royals made it 6-5 with 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th. And then J.P. Arancibia's home run in the top of the 8th, making it a 3-run game. On the ground to McCoy. Gets his 1 for 4. MLB.com's @Bat11 app for Android, BlackBerry, and Samsung Galaxy Tab is live baseball. Follow the Royals wherever you are with game day pitch-by-pitch tracking, in-progress box scores and stats, breaking news, searchable video highlights, and game day audio. So you can listen to every game live. And if you have MLB.tv, you can watch games live. Matt Trainer 0 for 2. He walked in the 6th inning, came around to score. We're going to have to get somebody to look this up, but the largest gap between on base percentage and batting average, and it's still strange to see Matt Trainer. He's hitting .211, but his on base percentage is .358. So 147 points better than his average.
Well, his 22 walks have matched a career high.
.23 if you add tonight's. 23 walks, 23 hits. He has as many walks as he does hits. Two balls, 2 strikes. Three and 2. Well, if you look at some of the leaders in the league, and we're still early enough in the season where some on base percentages are very high, including Jose Bautista, which is .496. So that's a, let's see, that's 150 points better than his average. So that's better than Trainer, but I would think he has the highest. Let me change the criteria here. I would think that is the best on base percentage in the American League for somebody batting under .220.
I would agree with that. Someone will research that, but it sounds like he would be the winner in that area.
So 24 walks for Trainer, adding to his new career high. And now Alcides Escobar. 2-hit game tonight, his first since May the 22nd against Jaime Garcia and the Cardinals. A single to left field in the 6th inning, a single to right field in the 4th. Escobar also has his stolen base. Changeup floats up and away. Kyle Drabek went 5 1/3 innings. He gave up 5 runs, 9 hits, 3 walks, so 12 base runners in 5 1/3. But because of the Blue Jays offense tonight, he is in line for a win, his 4th, if the bullpen can hang on. Patterson comes up in left field, and Escobar is the second out. By the way, Escobar's last 3-hit game was last year. So he sits down, going 2 for 4 so far. And now it's Perez against Gordon for the second time. And Perez really locked up Alex with a hard slider and a strikeout in the 6th inning. This is game number 9 out of 11 on this homestand. And Alex Gordon has been on base 18 times. One and one.
He's done a real good job throwing the fastball in and then going away. And Alex must not be picking the ball up on that breaking ball. He's seeing the fastball in very well. He reacted to that pitch, but that real short, tight breaking ball, it seems like he's just not seeing that ball out of Perez's hand.
Two and one. Three balls, one strike. Here in Sevilla didn't see it right away, but in a 3-run game, Trainer isn't going anywhere. Blue Jays trying to get a rare win here at Kauffman Stadium. They have lost 4 of their last 5, 8 out of their last 11 in Kansas City. Royals won game 1 last night in 11 innings. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Trainer runs. Alex fouls it away. Struck him out for the second time. Royals are scoreless in the 8th. It is 8-5 Blue Jays.
Oh, looks to be a waxing quarter moon.
All right. And this would be our defensive play of the game, brought to you by the Home Depot.
Well, nothing like a good pickoff. And here, Escobar and Mazzaro worked this to perfection against Jason Nix at second base. He had the inside turn, and right on the money, right there, right on his hands.
The Home Depot doing more on defense. Both teams had a runner pick off at second base tonight for the final out. Now CD's Escobar there to receive a throw on one, and then he was picked off in the bottom of the fourth by Kyle Drabeck. Blake Wood stays on for the ninth. Jason Nix will lead off. An RBI double and a single with a run scored. Colorado Rockies in 2001 made Jason Nix its first round draft pick. Hasn't had much of a career with the bat yet, but there are teams that love what he does with the glove. He began the year with the Indians, and then right before the end of spring training was traded over to the Blue Jays, and he has had a good defensive series so far in this one.
Well, I managed against him in double A when he was in Tulsa. He was a second baseman then, and then he went from there to third base and played a little outfield. He's been an all-purpose guy, and he's made the best of his career in terms of getting time in the big leagues. And like you say, you think he'd be able to hit a little bit better because he's got a nice, short, compact swing, but just laying off that slider away, that's been a tough pitch.
.215 career hitter in the big leagues, and at the moment he is hitting .198. It's still 2-2.
If you're going to be a swing man in the game, then you got to have a glove. And I think if you've got a glove, there's always a place they can use you.
He is the younger brother of Major League outfielder Lance Nix.
But just been strictly more of a pull-minded hitter, and that's really hurt him the most.
And he pulls it to Escobar. One down in the ninth inning. Nix is 2 for 4. Game 3 with the Blue Jays tomorrow night, same time, and it will be Danny Duffy still going for his first big league win. Carlos Villanueva will pitch for John Farrell tomorrow. Tomorrow is our Fox Sports Kansas City Royals Charities broadcast auction. We had a lot of fun with that last year, so we hope you'll tune in for the game and for that. The best part about last year was how we tried to sweeten some of the items. Remember that? We kind of just started adding things as the night went along. Oh yeah, we'll throw this in, we'll throw that in. So if you've seen the list of the items to be auctioned, I'm not promising anything, but don't be surprised if those auction items aren't a little more appealing tomorrow night.
Well, that's true. I was at home watching last year when the auction was going on, and I noticed that right away, that it's getting nicer and nicer for the people bidding. We've had some of those people who won the booth visit, and they've had a great time coming up. And
not only won the booth visit, but
check out the camera.
Got to go out and work the camera in left field.
So that was pretty cool.
They don't let us work the camera.
No, we can't touch the camera.
Alex back a few steps in left field. We go to the bottom of the ninth inning. The Royals are down by 3 with Cabrera, Hosmer, and Frank Boer coming up. bottom of the 9th inning. And they will face 6'11" John Roush. 6'11", over 250 pounds. 6 out of 8 in his save opportunities. Frank Francisco has a save. The Royals beat him last night in the 11th inning. Octavio Dotel has a save. John Roush last year filled in for the Twins when they lost Joe Nathan for the season with Tommy John surgery. He had 21 saves for Minnesota, which was a career high for him, but right at the trading deadline, Minnesota went out and they got Matt Capps from the Washington Nationals, and he took over as closer. So down by 3, it's Melky Cabrera, Eric Hosmer, and Jeff Francoeur. 2 hits, a run scored, an RBI for Melky tonight. He has hit in 6 in a row. Fastball, strike 1. One and one. Roush is the tallest pitcher in Major League history at 6'11". Originally out of the White Sox system, 3rd round pick in 1999. McCoy to the middle. Melky is out, number 1.
I would think that the toughest thing for a guy that big, he's got large hands, is to really have a good feel for the baseball and have a good feel for a release point and be able to repeat it, over and over again. And he's got to look huge when he's from the batter's box. But when he comes down the hill, he's like almost got like he's just reaching out there and saying, putting it in the catcher's glove almost.
Watching the radar, that's 91 miles an hour, and he threw a 91-mile-an-hour fastball to Melky Cabrera. So it's not lighting up the radar gun, but as you pointed out, with that reach, it gets to the plate quicker than you would think 91 would.
Yeah, he's probably covering a little less ground than I'm sorry, he's covering more ground than most guys coming off that mound.
And if he is keeping the ball down, that is quite a tilt coming out of the hand of somebody who is almost 7 feet tall. Hosmer pops it up. The shift was on to the right, so Nix is the only one to get over there, and he makes the catch in foul ground. Hosmer is 2 for 4. And now Roush is 1 out away from his 7th save.
Yeah, Roush is so tall, Ryan. I mean, you always talk about throwing downhill, but his downhill could actually be a high fastball, and he'll probably get you to chase a lot of high fastball and get a lot of pop-ups like that.
So 6'11", and he is not a skinny 6'11". Shaved head. He is covered in tattoos. I mean, he's scary all the way up here in the booth. Francoeur, 2 hits, 3 RBIs tonight. 1 and 1. Francoeur by far has the most experience against John Roush. 18 career at-bats and 4 hits. Roush has spent the majority of his career in the National League, mentioned coming up through the White Sox system, but pitched in Washington in 04, 05, 06, 07, part of 08, and then with Arizona the other half of 08 and part of 09. So the National League knows him a lot better than the American League. One of his tattoos, I am told, are Chinese symbols that say "Tall Fire," which sums it up. Tall Fire.
You have to sit a while to get those tattoos.
Left center field. Davis is there. The Blue Jays even the series. They go back up above 500. So those 2 runs in the 8th inning, big runs for John Farrell and the Blue Jays. They win 8-5. We'll be right back.